fuck Metroid Dread. Yeah, it needed to be said. I don't know what everyone is talking about, and I'm tired of hearing fanboys who think that their shit don't stink. Like, let's look at some of the bad Nintendo Switch games that we got in the past. ARMS, Mario Party, Paper Mario, No More Heroes 3, Kirby Star Allies. Initially, I was going to be very harsh on this game, but I want to be fair with my review. Major spoiler warning for anyone who doesn't want the game spoiled for you. And if you disagree with what I say here, that's okay. Just don't be an asshole about it. And if you plan to make a hate video on me for this review, well then, bring it. Now, this isn't necessarily a review of how I suck at a challenging game. Someone once questioned why I didn't like Castlevania Dracula X because of its challenge and how that justifies me calling it a bad game. First off, Dracula X is kind of a bad game compared to its counterpart, Rondo of Blood. And secondly, if games like Midnight Club LA can lose points for it being too challenging to these reviewers, then I don't think Metroid Dread should get away with it. Now, if you enjoy this game, that's completely fine, but I believe this game has reached a new limit on punishing players. This whole get good mentality, in my opinion, is ruining gaming. Gaming should be fun and enjoyable and entertaining. It should not be a chore. Let's actually get into this review. One of Metroid Dread's biggest issues is the constant back and forth you have to do every time you get a new upgrade. You travel to a new location, get the upgrade, then go back to a previous location and do the same thing over and over and over again. I understand this is the game style for these Metroidvanias, but it's a bit too frequently here. And I like Metroidvanias. I play them myself, from Castlevania to Hollow Knight, but I think here it fails with that idea. And it sucks because there is a huge map to explore in this game. But when the environments are a bit uninteresting to look at and kind of bland, and when you're forced to go back and forth all the time, it kind of stalls the game from moving forward at a fluent pace. Especially when I'm told to grab the gravity suit as soon as possible, and then it takes me maybe another 3 or 4 hours to get it. Why are you telling me about this item so early on if I have to do a constant battle of back and forth to get it? Next, I want to talk about the controls. Samus does move a bit too swiftly, even to the point where the slightest movement of the stick will send her running across the screen, and that could cost you your health or essentially a life. I also forgot to mention a big problem with this game being a 2D side-scroller is that you can't use the D-pad, you're forced to use the analog to move. And that's a problem for a 2D side-scrolling game, and there's no option to change it in the settings. And you can't deny this because it is fact. There's no option to move slowly, you can't walk in the game. It's complete fact. Even when you try to aim with the left analog stick while holding L for the free aim, it at times can be a complete disaster. Like the free aim here is terrible, and not to mention that there's no real option to lock on a target, not until you unlock a certain upgrade to lock on to 5 targets at once, but even that is a bit too slow to get the job done. The parry move sometimes don't work because they require precise, perfect timing, and not every enemy can be parried, so why include this feature from Samus Returns if it's not going to be implemented as deeply as it should have been? Now, speaking of enemies, I will praise that there is a very wide enemy variety in the game. You do have a lot of different enemy types that you will face in this game. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the bosses. Not counting the E.M.M.Is, there's maybe 4 or 5 different bosses in the game, and then any other boss you face is just the same boss that you fought previously, just a little bit stronger, looks a little bit different, or in some cases, it'll be the same exact boss fight. I'll get into that in a few. But it's just a lot of rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You fight one boss, you're going to fight him again and again. And what really frustrated me is, why am I forced to swing through these certain areas with the grapple beam? Because swinging from one spot to another is almost impossible, as you have to free aim on the next spot before you hit the ground from falling. And you have to try it over and over again. This isn't Spider-Man. I didn't pay for Spider-Man this time. If I want to swing like Spider-Man, then I'll go fucking play Spider-Man.
All this for little old me?
Luckily, though, these moments are not too common. So, it's here and there. It's not as common as it. Thankfully, it's not as common. That's all I can say about that. Moving on from there, I want to talk about the graphics, because the game isn't ugly. Okay, it's not like Minecraft ugly or anything like that. But if you're gonna play on a TV, it does look a bit off compared to playing in handheld. And I actually wonder why all the advertisement for this game shows the people playing on the OLED model in handheld and not so much footage playing docked. And I don't even have an OLED model, and the game looks better on my Switch handheld than it does on the TV. It just looks a bit faded, a little bit off. I don't really know what the problem is with the upscaling to the TV, and I know a few reviewers have talked about it. The one that I can name off the top of my head was Game Ranks. They did mention that as well. And with the backgrounds of the areas, as I mentioned earlier, some of it just isn't as interesting to look at. It's just some weird, random background, especially when you go through the E.M.M.I locations. They're all pretty much the same shit. And it's also frustrating when the game sometimes will switch to a third-person 3D type of view and then go back into the 2D for gameplay. It makes me wonder, why not just make a 3D Metroid game anyway? I know we're getting Metroid Prime 4 within the next, 1 or 2 years, hopefully. Maybe we'll see a Prime Trilogy remastered, but why not make another 3D Metroid game? Moving on from there is the story. They do give you a brief recap in the beginning from previous games, but I didn't think it was enough for anyone like me who didn't play the previous games. I only played Super Metroid, and I played a tiny bit of Zero Mission, but I think for newcomers like me, there should have been more detail for us to really understand what's happening. And with this being the first Metroid game on Switch, why is there not enough detail in the lore that we should have by now? And I could be wrong. This stuff could be out there for me to look up. But who was the Galactic Federation? What do they look like? Where do they operate out of? Who are the other bounty hunters in this story? Are we going to meet any of the bounty hunters in future games? Do we get to fight any of them in other games? And what about Samus? She doesn't really have much character to her. Like, major spoiler, yes, she does have a few lines that she voiced in this game. But where's her personality? Who is she outside of the armor? Does she like pizza? Does she like to dance? We don't really know much about her from this game, and probably from other games as well, other than she's a galactic bounty hunter and she likes to fight aliens. And I'm not saying that there's a problem with her in this aspect, because Samus is indeed a badass. But I think by now, at this point in the Metroid franchise, we should be getting a bit more into her personality. You know, who she is, what she does outside of her job. You know, and with that, I would like to see a game where we get to travel through space and fly from planet to planet. But here it just seems like the same old gameplay over and over again, rinse and repeat, go back and forth, side-scrolling action. We need something new. I think this is just dated. And one of the problems I had with the game is some of the power-ups that you get in the game. The grapple beam, like I said, is horrible because it requires perfect aim, and when you're swinging with it, it's just not good. The free aim is kind of bad. The flash shift was a problem because you would think it'll let you phase through enemies when you need to. It doesn't. It just lets you maybe get out of the way. You still take damage if you flash shift into an attack. And there's a problem when an enemy or a boss backs you into a wall and you can't space jump out of the way because the space jump refuses to work. So you're kind of screwed there taking damage. The Phantom Cloak is also kind of pointless because after your energy drains, you start to lose your health at a very rapid pace. And the Phantom Cloak won't even protect you from the E.M.M.Is searching you anyway, because they will still find you and still attack you. Honestly, fuck the E.M.M.Is. The one-hit kill from the E.M.M.Is is bullshit. Complete bullshit. I understand what they were going for here. They wanted that new mechanic for you to escape the E.M.M.Is until you have the power to defeat them. And that's where I wanted to bring up a problem with another boss type in this game. There is a certain boss that you have to fight to obtain the Omega Beam, which is the only way to defeat an E.M.M.I. And it's the same blue-brained, one-eyed boss that you have to fight every single time to get the Omega Beam. Rinse and repeat. And it shows a lack of creativity. Why couldn't they make other bosses for you to get the Omega Beams, or any other method to get the Omega Beam each time you have to kill an E.M.M.I? Now there is an option to parry an E.M.M.I's attack so you can survive that one-hit kill. But on the first time they let you do it, they tell you that it's kind of pointless because you're most likely not going to be successful in parrying an E.M.M.I attack unless you're very, very skilled. I have seen videos on YouTube, and I think those players just need to go outside a bit more and enjoy some fresh air. Because here are the times that I was successful in parrying an E.M.M.I attack. And here is a majority of the times where I was unsuccessful and died. You're going to see the game over screen of this game more times than you've seen in your entire life. And I don't think a game where you have to die over and over again just to learn the pattern to win is any fun at all. And it's more than just the game being hard. Samus moves too swiftly. It causes issues when you're trying to place yourself for an attack. You have to do all the back and forth from one location to another over and over again. It's tedious. It hurts the game's explorations. The E.M.M.I system was bad because it could have been better. There were just really annoying obstacles for you to get through. Even when you have to go through a certain door so it can stop pursuing you, sometimes the door will just close on you and you gotta wait for it to open, and by then you're dead. Some enemies deal way too much damage than they should. And there's not much to unlock after you beat the game. You just get hard mode. And when you get the amiibos, they don't really do much. They give you like a slight boost in health and a slight boost in your missiles. But yes, there are some cool moments in the game. I will give it that. But I don't think there's enough of those moments to really save this game. I completed the game a little over 11 hours, and that's because I had to go back and find much more items to improve my health and my missile count in order to beat the final boss. People said they've beaten it in like 9 hours, 8 hours. If you do 100% completion, you can get maybe 12 to 15 hours out of it, and then whatever you're going to do in hard mode. But I don't think this game necessarily was worth the $60 price. And that's because it's lack of creativity, it's crazy difficulty for this get good generation, poor controls. I mean, look, if you enjoy these types of games where you have to learn the pattern, die more than once, at least 100 times, and figure out the pattern of a boss to beat it, if you're a Souls type of player, then you might enjoy this game. But if you really enjoy a game where you have to be punished for playing, you might be a psycho. I think for Samus to have her first shot on the Switch, we should have gotten better. Like, will we ever get a Metroid game where we can fly through space, or one where we can fight the other bounty hunters? Why is there not enough voice acted cutscenes? Give Samus a voice, let her be known. We are in a time of powerful, badass women are being presented in these types of media, and we need more from her. Give her more of a character. Let us see who she is. Maybe we were better off having them put the money for this game towards another game like the Metroid Prime trilogy or Metroid Prime 4. And I think if you really want a good Metroid game for your money, this isn't it, Chief. Metroid Dread gets a 5 out of 10, and like I said, it's all my opinion, just how I felt playing the game. I did not enjoy it, and I will be trading it in to put towards my Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl bundle. But let me know in the comments what you thought about this game. Let me know if you think I'm wrong and you want to talk about it in a nice, calm manner, because I'm open for discussion. I'm Anthony Olan Tech, and I'll be seeing you.